All right. Live again, with another stream here, plugging away on my character selection game that I'm preparing. And I'm trying out some new software today. So if anything is amiss, if anything looks a little different than you're used to it looking, by all means, let me know. I'm just trying out some new software. It's getting pretty glitchy with some of the other stuff that I was using, and so I figured I would go and try some new things and see how that works. So yeah, there you have it. So I am currently in Substance Designer here, and I'm plugging away on a material for my tarp that I created, and I'm just kind of doing a weave here that I've got going on this thing. I've already exported these textures here and brought them into the project where I've got them on my mesh here, and you can see it's starting to look a little bit more tarp-like. However, it's super glossy, and that's not. It's not what tarps are supposed to look like. And so I want to make changes to this. I want to edit this so that it looks a little bit better in terms of what we're looking at here. So what I've done is I've just been going onto the internet and looking up pictures of grunge and water damage, to try and find something that I can use as an overlay. I'm essentially going to be doing what you typically do in Substance Painter, but I'm going to be doing it inside of the engine instead of doing it in Substance Painter. I don't necessarily need to create a finished product inside of Painter and bring it out. Only because, I'm doing things with Designer here, so I'm doing a very tiling texture. This is a little bit of a grunge map. It's a little too even for me. You can kind of see like it's all dark on the right, it's all light in the middle, and then there's kind of some mid-grays here. There's some very noticeable vertical lines going on, and none of that is what I want. And so I'm going to kind of get around that and see if we can't go and do something a little bit better with this. And so I've got Google open over here. I'm looking up water damage. I'm like, this kind of stuff I really like. And I'd like to find a bunch of this that I can use on top of my mesh, on top of what's already there. And the more kind of uneven I can get this stuff, the better. So I want to watch out for anything like that that's really super even. I just kind of want these really big, blotchy areas with dirt and grime and stuff on them. Let's go back and look up grunge again. See what we can find. See, this would be pretty decent. It's pretty uneven, with the exception of the fact that you can tell it's concrete, right? You can actually see all the cracks in there, which is not going to work for me. I need to find something. Oh, hey. So that's not bad. It's just really small. So, on we go. Let's see what we can find. This is not bad. Let me see if I can find a large enough version of this. Well, that's not going to work. All of these people are so intent on having you go to their website and getting those clicks, getting those ad views, that it makes it really hard to actually just Google images anymore. Everything tries to redirect you someplace that you don't want to be. So let's see what this guy's like. This is a fairly large image here, too. I'm going to bring this in. We're going to scale it down. It looks like Photoshop just crapped out on me. So we'll see. Come on, Photoshop. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. Very peculiar. Okay. Are you back? You're back. Okay. Let's try this again. Oh, weird. Now I'm locked into aspect ratio. There we go. And Photoshop sometimes has a mind of its own. Okay, so that's a pretty good start. I don't want to just overlay this as is, though, because that'll create problems for me. I like the colors that I'm seeing in here. There's a lot of, like, browns and greens and tans and stuff going on, which I think is really good. I think the only other thing that I would want to do is to just create an alpha channel for this image, in which I get some kind of splotchy grunge image that I can use to kind of punch holes in this a little bit. Something like this. Let's copy this image. Now this one I'm not as interested in the colors. I mean, they are lovely, the colors, but that's not what I'm after. So I'm going to go and scale this one up here, like so. Try and get this to, what is going on? There we go. Photoshop's acting bizarre. Might be time to close this stuff. I'm going to go to my levels here, and I'm just going to bring up the blacks and the whites a little bit. I want just a little higher contrast, like so. So let's go and save this. We're going to go to Projects. We're going to go to Cabin in the Woods. We're going to go to Textures, and this is going to go into my tarpaulin folder. This is going to be a Targa with that separate alpha channel for me, and I'm going to call it Grunge. We'll try and use the English spelling. There we are, Grunge, and I need this to be 32-bit with that alpha channel. And let's return back in here and import it, and see what this gives us. So Cabin in the Woods, Textures, and Tarp, and Grunge Map. And then I'm going to open my tarp material, and I'm going to bring this in. And there's a few things I want to do with this. So first, I'm going to view this on an object like this. I've got tiling going on those, so this other stuff shouldn't really matter. I'm going to okay, let's pull this over here. So the first thing that I want to do is multiply my color against the color of the tarp, so that we end up with those browns and whatnot covering the tarp, like so. And I don't necessarily need the tarp to be that dirty, though that might not actually look that bad. Again, this is a fairly large object. Let's try with those colors on here. Let's see what happens if we go into the roughness here, and let me see what I'm going to create a subtract, and I'm going to set the subtract to subtract 0. I just want to look at my individual channels of this image. Start previewing. And I want to see so I think I want to, whatever I do, I want to invert it. I like the blue channel. So whatever I do, I'm going to invert. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. So let's take a 1 minus, and we'll take blue, and we'll put this in addition to, know what I'm doing? I'm lightening, so I want to add the original roughness to this. And plug this in here. So this should give me, wherever the dirt and grime is, less rough of a surface here. And I may want to contrast that up a little bit. Let's preview what the 1 minus is doing. Start preview. Oh, that's pretty white. So yeah, I think I'm going to want to contrast that. So what I'm going to do is go into a power node. And we'll plug the power node into this. And let's play with this exponent. Let's bring it up to 5. We want to go up in baby steps here, and I want to just ramp it up. Let's try 10. Oh, I'm not previewing the right node. That's why it's not changing. So let's bring that back down to 5. Okay, that's better. There's a little bit more contrast in there. It's just I don't want to completely overwrite the shine that the tarp had. I just want to add the grime to it as being a separate level of reflectivity. Okay, not too bad. And then I'm going to use the alpha channel here. And I'm going to multiply the alpha channel, I think, by whatever my color is currently. So I get those splotchy black areas. And I think what I might do is, instead of multiplying this, I might actually just lerp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lerp, and I'm going to grab a dirt color here. We're going to go into the browns, like so, and we're going to lerp this with this. And we'll just get a little bit more brown. Why did that brown lighten up so much? Like, that is not the same color. That's too black. That might be too black as well. We'll leave that for now. And I'm going to need to add this to the roughness as well. That might be overkill. There might be too much of that there. Yeah, I'm doing some texturing in the tarp. I got it going last night, Bray. It is hacky, but it works. I'll show you how I got it going. I found this in a video in order to get it working. So what was happening, the reason the character wasn't colliding with it is that the object wasn't colliding with anything, the tarp wasn't colliding with anything, and as a result, it was going to sleep. And the character bumping into it isn't enough to wake it back up. And so what you have to do is prevent it from falling asleep again. And when you do that, it allows you to then have your character bump into it and make it work. And so I'll show you what I did to do that. It is the worst thing in the world, and you should never ever do what I've done here in a game, because it's terrible, but it does work. That's not too bad. Let me see if I just plug this color in. I think that color's it's too light. What if I multiply this and just darken it with the brown, the brune. Okay. So I'm going to save this. I want to go see what it looks like actually on the tarp. Oh, tiles. Tiles, my friend. Tiles everywhere. So why the fuck is it tiling? I didn't tell it to tile. I'm tiling this stuff. Oh, I bet you the UVs are not 0 to 1. Let me import the tarp. I bet you that's what happened. Okay, Cabin in the Woods, tarp A. This is the wrong one. Import. Let me go to my Fibex folder. Fibex and tarp A. That's what I want. So my assumption here is that the UVs on this are way outside the 0 to 1. Which they are. Lo and behold. So let's go plop them into the 0 to 1. Convert this to an edible poly. Export selected. I may end up doing this in a completely different way. Fibex tarp A. I may end up doing this in a completely different way because of the way it looks. I'm not thrilled with the way it looks. And so let's go back to my meshes and find the tarp. That's the blueprint. That's the tarp. We're going to re-import that. I should assign the material here to this. Because, yeah, the idea here is that I want the patterning of the tarp, the weave of the fabric, that I want tiling, but I don't want the dirt to tile. So, yeah, I didn't end up painting anything else on it. Like the vertices that are awake and asleep, the amount of movement that they get, that is all exactly the same way it was last night. The only thing that I did any different was to set the system up so that it doesn't fall asleep. And again, this is a really, really hacky way to do this, and I don't recommend it for any game to do it this way. But I'll show you the. I had to make a blueprint. This is it over here, and that's what's making the system work. Okay, so that's doing a little bit better than what it was. The grid on the tarpaulin is now incorrect. The weave. So I'm going to go and affect that. Tarp instance. I'll pull this down so we can see it. And let's go from 5 to 25. And that's a little bit better. I think we can probably go higher. Leave it at 50. Let's see it from this side. So again, it might be there might be too much crud, I think. Let's just kill this and clean up anything not in use. And this is going to go directly in here. That's not in use. The lerp is no longer in use. Let's go here and kill these guys. So what I might do, is darken this map here a little bit, because again, I've lost too much of the dirt. So we're just gonna go multiply this to darken it up a little bit. Let's not multiply it by 1. Let's start getting smaller. What's up, Christian? How you doing, brother? This is going the wrong way. Let's multiply by 5. No, that's brighter. That's brighter. 0.1. It's really... Oh, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. 0.25. Okay. Grimy enough. So, let's go see what this looks like here. Oh, man, that's still super shiny. Let me see what this looks like. Huh. Rough is white, and that looks white. I might be blowing this out a little bit, so we're going to clamp to make sure that I don't blow it. Compile that. Good, my friend. Good. Glad to hear it, brother. Yeah, I'm still getting a tremendous amount of shine from this. What gives? What gives? What's the deal? Okay. Gonna manually take control here. And we're gonna multiply this by a scalar parameter called rough. And I'm gonna give it a default value of 1 so it doesn't break out of the gate. But we'll save this, and then we'll open the instance and take a look. There's the instance. Big instance. Now, tarps are naturally, like, pretty shiny. This just seems to have no variation in here. Anyway, let's increase the rough, and... that's a little much. That's a little bit better. Okay, let's save that. It definitely lost all its color. Let's do a build of the lighting and see if that helps. And then I'll go show you. I'll show you the system I've got in play here. Now I've turned up some of my light building settings. I did this before yesterday's live stream. And as a result, my lighting's now taking a little bit longer to bake. I'm still in the like less than a minute area, so it's not concerning yet. But I still have all default light map resolutions on everything. All my lights are movable, so that should change the light map issue with all my meshes. I should get some pretty nice looking stuff here with dynamic lights. Okay, so that's finished. Yeah, still pretty dark. Still pretty dark. Anyway, let me show you the system in play here. So there's the tarp, and I can walk through it, and it goes up and down. So it's behaving exactly the way I want it to behave. I gotta put some crinkling sounds on it so that it sounds a little bit better. Oop, there's my capsule. So you can kind of see the shape of the thing that collides with it. But yeah, it's doing what I want it to do. The only issue that I have with it here is that I don't know that anybody is going to try to walk through it. I think it's going to make people kind of walk around. So it is all okay. Why am I saying it's a hack? I'll show you why it's a hack, and why this is a terrible thing to be doing. And in the end, I don't even know that I'm going to be able to get away with this. This might end up being something that I have to change based off performance. Again, I'm trying to make this so that every student can play this on their machine, and so using my high-end desktop is not fair. It's the same reason I don't have ray tracing turned on, even though my machine can do it. I want to make sure that it looks good for everybody, and so anyway, that's that. When I render out some screenshots of this or whatnot to show it off, that's when I'll go and do that. Now I'm just gonna go in. I'm just gonna do one more thing here. I know I said I'd show you the thing, but I'm really concerned about the color of this thing, and so I'm gonna grab a light, and I want to bring this over here. That's not where over is. That's where over is. I want to get this light near the tarp to actually make sure that it is... yeah, it's rendering. It's rendering the way that I expect it to. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a light up on the... up here. to just kind of indicate a little bit that this is a path that can be taken. So no, I didn't edit the geometry. That's exactly the same. The only thing that I did any different visually is I just made a texture, which this was just something I threw together inside of Designer. I've still got it open here, so I can walk you through what this is. I used a weave generator, and I just got rid of the gap so that these things are right against each other. In the weave generator, I used a tile sampler where I just tiled it 16 times. That's it there. So I get a whole bunch of these things together. Now, I could have actually just told the weave generator to do that, but I'm paying very close attention to my numbers for a really good reason. And so this is tiling 16 times, and then if I go back, I've got another weave generator set at 16. And this one is outputting a mask. So what I'm doing with this black and white mask is I'm using it to then put some warbles in here. So I took some Perlin noise and some other Perlin noise, and I used a directional warp to kind of skew them a little bit to get this kind of weird wibbly wobbly pattern. And then I just kind of altered the numbers a little bit to give me a different wibbly wobbly pattern. And then what I did is I blended those things together using the mask. This should not be a multiply. This should actually be a switch. There we go. That'll look better. Okay, I'm going to need to re-export this. But yeah, I wanted to make a switch. So essentially what it's doing is every alternating square is getting warp A, and the in-between ones are getting warp B. And then what I do is I adjust the levels on this so it's not overpowering, and then I blend it with the weave. And so what this does is it gives me like little bits of warbles on some of the tiles, but they don't crisscross like through the actual little they don't go right through the fibers. You know, they're separate from the vertical and the horizontal. I then did another tile sampler that I just ran a gradient into, and I just randomized the rotation and the angle of this. I also randomized the brightness of this, and then I blended that with what I already had, which then got chucked into the normal map to create the normal. I used as the height map to give me my roughness and my ambient occlusion, and then I used that with a gradient that's just got various colors of blue in it to give me my blue color. And so that's it. That's my whole graph. And again, it gives me a very close-up version of this. You know, I could go into these tile generators and tile it a lot more, but I only really need to tile it, you know, enough that we don't see repetition. So I kind of did it this much. And then I brought that into Unreal and started multiplying it against the other stuff that's in here. So there. That's looking a little bit better. Now we're getting some tarpaulin goodness. Oh, it's black. It's black. Tarps are actually a little transparent, so I'm gonna have to put some subsurface on this thing with a light right here too. The subsurface is gonna read really well. Anyway, the hack. Let's go to the hack. So here's where the hack came from. So what I did, I haven't changed my skeletal mesh, and I haven't changed the physics asset. They are identical to the way they were last night. What I did is I created a blueprint, and in the blueprint, in the viewport, I just went and added my tarp. You can see that the material here is not correct. This guy should be using the material instance of the tarp. Oop, there we go. So there is there's the tarp now thrown over the top of this thing, and all I did in here with the skeletal mesh on was told it to collide with the environment, and that's really the only thing. If I go through here, there's nothing else that was changed, and then once that was set, I had to find a way of keeping this thing awake, and that's what I got from the video of a guy online. So this is the only bit of scripting. This is what's making it work in collision with my character. So tick fires off every frame of the game. So the blueprint did not fix the wrinkles. I'll show you once I get loaded up again. Still looks bad. So tick fires off every frame. So at 60 frames a second, this fires off 60 times every second, which is why this is expensive, and you kind of don't want to use this too much. It's not a usable node in anything like that. So yeah, tick is bad. Worse yet, at 60 times a second, when this thing fires off, it first fires A and then fires B. And all I'm doing is add actor world offset. So this just moves whatever actor you have. In this case, it's actually the skeletal mesh. And all I'm doing is I'm moving it 0.01 centimeters. So that's 1/10 of a millimeter. So I move it in X 1/10 of a millimeter, and I move it back in X 1/10 of a millimeter. So in essence, the thing is vibrating. It's not enough that you'll ever be able to see it. If I go into simulate, you won't actually ever see it vibrating, but it's actually in X shifting back and forth a very, very quick amount of times. And that's what's allowing it to not wake up or to not go to sleep. And so because of that, that little bit of a glitch in the system, the thing doesn't fall asleep, and now when he walks through it, it actually collides the way it's supposed to. So I've got two things that I want to do here to actually make this look a little bit better. So first, it does pass through itself, which is a little bit of a problem in that I made 2 layers of this thing. And so those 2 layers are kind of a problem because the back layer can pass through the front layer. You can see it right there happening. And so that's happening because instead of just hanging a tarp, I folded it over the fabric, or folded it over the line. And so I've got 2 layers of fabric. Now this is double stupid. It's double stupid because it's simulating twice the amount of fabric that I need to simulate, and it's twice the poly count that I would need it to be if it was just a single layer. And it looks bad because they pass through each other, and so that's kind of a problem. Now I can get to the point where I can get in between the layers like this, which is kind of awesome. But anyway, I've got to fix that to make it work properly. But anyway, I can get all the way through it, and it works quite nice. And so I may do a couple things more with this. I'm really not liking the triangular topology on this. I think in Unreal it's creating ugly geometry. And so I may actually try to rebuild this thing in 3ds Max with just square topology, or I might try and just re-export it from Substance with the square topology. But I think it's acting funny because of that topology. So anyway, that's that. Now, what I need to do to make this a little bit more effective, I've got to put a subsurface on here in the texture. So if we go in here, that's nowhere where I need to be. Textures and materials and tarp. So I'm going to go into the master material here, and I'm actually just going to use my main blue color as a subsurface color. And then we're going to go and change the material here to be subsurface, and I'm going to add an opacity node into the opacity. I'll save this. Let's turn off the preview here too. So we shouldn't see any subsurface right now, or we see a whole bunch. Oh, because I got the opacity at 0. So let's set it at 1, so that it's fully opaque. That didn't change anything. That isn't the opacity, yeah. That isn't the opacity. Okay. Well, let's go and edit the instance of this with the world visible to see. See, that's starting to look a little bit more like a tarp. See how we can see the shelf behind it through it? That's what I'm looking to achieve. Now, it does blow the hell out of the texture here. Well, Wow. So it looks like, let's put this back to 1. So it's reading really well there. But I think what I might do, this color might be just a little too dark. And so I'm going to grab the end result color and put that in. I don't want it to glow. That's the last thing I want. Let's see what this does. Okay, so let's go into the instant again, or the instance again, and pull the opacity down. There we go. That's what I want. And you can see the shadowing from the shelf on the other side. That reads more like a tarp. And so I just need to get it kind of close. Not sure what's going on here. Make sure the geometry is not touching itself here. No, it is. It is separate all the way through. Anyway, let's go give this a whirl. Yeah, that's better. So it definitely looks a little bit more like a tarp now. Okay, the next thing that I need to do, that I want to do, is I want to set up the noise that happens on this thing. And that's going to require a couple of things. And I'm trying to debate the best way of doing this. So I'm going to Google tarp sounds. And I want to just kind of get it crinkling. That's not bad. It's too uneven. You guys can hear that, yeah? So I'm just on a database here. And, yo, Yash! What's up, brother? How you doing, my friend? I'm just grabbing some sound here for my tarp. The first one, eh? It's that one. So I really like that one, but the only thing that I have a problem with it is it's too long. It's 7 seconds. I wouldn't mind it being about 5 seconds. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to download it as a wave. You need to create an account for free. So let's create a free account. I'm going to go to, not 10 centimeters. I want to go to 10-minute email, because I don't sign up for shit with my own account. We're going to go copy this, and here's my email address. Let's use this password, and I agree to the terms of service and create the account. And now, the big long one, I should be able to download. What? Do I have to log in? Is that the issue? There, let's verify my email address. Log in. And voila. You currently don't have any subscriptions. Subscribe to one of our plans to start downloading. See, why would you tell me it's free? You've already signed in. Okay, if I'm signed in, let me download. This? Reloading the page. Okay, let's reload. I'll close this guy. Yeah, see, screw you. Screw you and you're asking for money. I don't want money. That was Sound Snap, so let's not go there. Tarp sound effects. Ooh, there's a bunch here. Best prices. Well, that doesn't sound like it's going to allow me to grab these things. Whoa.
5. 5. 5.
This one's got the guy's voice over top to prevent you from grabbing them for free. So let's go free. I mean, I've got a tarp in my garage and a really kick-ass microphone right here, so I can just fucking record my own. Sound snap. Pond. There's rain on a tarp, too. I guess I don't need 10-minute email anymore. Play. That's skydiving. It's not what I want at all. Who skydives with a tarp? I think you've got bigger problems. The sound of a parachute flapping in the wind. Yeah, that's not a tarp. Man, don't ever jump out of a plane with nothing but a tarp. Tarpaulin. Let's hear this one. Liquid on tarpaulin. This one's just confusing. Alright, Yash is recommending Sound Bibble. Let's go to the Sound Bibble. Let's see what they got. Sound Bibbly. Let's do a search. Tarp. We're sorry, but we found no items. Tarpaulin. We're sorry, we found no. Okay. The Sound Bibble's a bust. Okay. I might just have to go record my own. Okay, maybe I'll do that. I'll make my own. Then nobody can claim I stole any of their shit. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna go get my tarp. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to turn off the fan for this because I don't want to get the fan's noise in here. Here we go. Maybe I shouldn't touch the microphone with it. Yep, that'll work nicely. There's an added benefit of doing this with my own microphone as well, which is it's in stereo, whereas I don't know that... No, that was just me manhandling my tarp. That sounded worse than it is. Okay, so actually, here's Audacity. I'm going to record it now. So... Okay. Let's see what that sounds like. That's weird. It's not coming out of my headset. Speakers. This should be my headset. Let's try that again. Yeah, I think that'll work. So I'm going to do some a little bit of editing in here. I'm going to do a fade out here. Actually, I'll do the fade out last. Let's grab the whole thing, effect, and let's normalize it first. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Turn my fan back on. Let's grab the whole thing again. Let's go to Effect, and let's go to Compressor, and let's compress it. See, the nice thing about having recorded it is that I was able to, like, naturally kind of have it taper off. You know, I'm in my head, I'm visualizing what it looks like when the guy walks under it. And so I kind of see him as this, like, this initial hit. And then it kind of flutters a little bit. And then as he walks away and it kind of settles, it kind of just kind of tapers out. So let's go and add a fade out here. Okay, I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm going to check and see what it's like with the reverb. I've got reverb on everything else to kind of make that basement-y feeling. As you kind of hear it echoing off the walls a little bit. Now, as I understand it, Unreal 2.5, or Unreal 5, this is not going to be an issue, as the engine does that on its own with this kind of ray tracing thing, and so that's kind of badass. All right, so File, Export as a wave, and I'm in my audio folder here already, so this is going to be tarp, hit, I don't care about any of that stuff. Let's go and close this. Let's go to my audio folder, import, projects, cabin in the woods, audio, and tar pit. Decent. So now, I want to do a couple of things. I want to make a physics material for this object in order to make the sound play correctly. So I think I'm going to do this in the materials section under the tarp. So let's go create a physics material. So the idea with a physics material is that it allows you to apply kind of properties to objects so that you don't have to worry about, a lot of complicated stuff when your game's being played. Yeah, so I could have sworn it was in here. Miscellaneous. Paper, physics. There we go. Physics material. Where are you? Chaos is physics material. Pick a physics material. What do you mean pick? Physics material. Select. There we go. So this is PM for physics material underscore tarp. And the idea here is if you picture a driving game where you have a car and you're driving, through the streets or in the countryside or whatnot, and every time your car hits something, let's say a piece of wood on the side of the road or a guardrail on the side of the road. When your car hits a guardrail, regardless as to what static mesh of the guardrail it is, you want it to sound like car on metal. And if it hits a log on the other side of the road, you want it to sound like car on wood. And so that's kind of what these physics materials are for. They allow you to set up systems that you can then globally apply to assets. And you can do things like applying particles so that every time you shoot a tree, it'll spit out chunks of wood. And every time you shoot a wall, you get chunks of drywall and stuff like that. And so that's kind of the idea with this. Now, I don't actually see any of the audio stuff in here. It's been a while since I've set something like this up. Actually, I don't think I've ever done it in UE4. Let's look this up. UE4, sound on physics asset. So physics. No, it was not in there. That is the marketplace with somebody selling something. It looks like it might actually now just be in the physics. So I might end up doing this another hacky way. It doesn't seem like the physics material is the way to go anymore. They might have changed that whole system. Anyway, you used to be able to put materials in there, like metal or whatnot, and it would do that. So the hacky way of doing this, which will probably still work, is I'm going to add an audio component here. Let's grab my tarpaulin hit and bring that in here as a new component. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the skeletal mesh. And we'll scroll down to the bottom, and I'm going to hit, do a on component hit. So whenever the static mesh or the skeletal mesh gets hit, we'll bring this guy out and we'll say play. And we'll play this thing. I also need to, in the properties of this, tell it not to, by default, don't be playing. Auto enable? Is that what it's called? Enable. Enable. Volume attenuation? No. Auto. Auto manage. Auto activate. That's the one. Don't auto activate. So if I do this and do this, that should work. We'll give it a whirl. We'll see how believable this is. Not believable. Okay, maybe not on hit. Maybe let's try on overlap. I think hit is more for like damage. So let's do on component begin overlap. And plug this one in. Well, I would say there's overlap there. Okay, let's see if there's actually a problem with this. Let's print. Here, you. Come here, you. And plug this in. Let's just see if we can actually get this to fire off. Yeah, when you do footsteps, yes, you generally will do it right in the animation itself. You would do what's called an anim notify. And an anim notify, if I go into mannequin animations, and where's walkie walk? There's walk. So here's this guy's walk, and what you can do with this, if we pause the animation. So what I can do, I'm going to look at his right foot here, and I'm going to look at the point where contact is made. And what I can do is then I can right-click in here, and we can go and add a notify. And then we can use the notify to do other things. And footprint sounds is one side of that. The other thing that you can do, there's add notify, new notify. But what you can do is more than just that. You can do footprint things on the ground, little decals or whatnot. And so yeah, that won't work in this instance because I'm not tied to any particular animation. This should work. It is looking for overlap. And let's see if we can actually print out the character here as being the thing that overlapped. So this is not counting as overlap. And so that's interesting. Oh, it might be hard to pick up the garlic now. There's the garlic. Okay. So it is not counting that as on component. Constraint broke. Anim initialize. Component hit. Begin overlap. End overlap. Wake. Sleep. We can try wake to see if wake is happening. Though again, because I'm vibrating the object, I don't think it's actually ever. Let's plug this into the print. I don't think it's ever actually going to sleep. And so I don't think it'll actually do anything. Yeah, es no bueno. Okay, so neither of those is going to work. I guess I could use a volume to do this. Not ideal. But I can do it with it. It's a skeletal mesh. So think of it as just being a character. So I'm going to move the volume node up there, and let's add a box collision. And what I can do is then just scale this guy. Where's your properties? Up here. I want to do 0.5. Okay, that'll work. Bring it out here. And then we'll scale it up and across so that the player will interact with it. Compile that. And then we're going to use that. Begin overlap. And I should actually check to make sure that the other component is the character. I don't know if it'll get triggered off on its own. So it's a little long. It's a little loud. So I've got to shorten it. So it looks like I only need it to be about 3 seconds long. And so I don't need this. This looks like it's going to work on its own. I'm going to set the volume of this guy. No. Well, the problem with stopping it is that I don't just want to stop it, right? I want it to fade out. And so what I might do is manually fade it out. So when you start overlap, we'll hit play. And then I'm going to create a timeline. And I just need the timeline to be 3 seconds long. What? No, I didn't want you. Where did you come from? I typed 3 and enter. And what I'm going to do here is we'll add a couple of keys to this. That was not helpful. Put that there. I'll put a key here. So this key is going to have a time frame of 3 and 0. And this one will be at 0 and 1. And then we'll compile and close this. Wait. Yeah, no, it did that thing. I think the other thing that I'll do is just auto those things so that I get a fade in, fade out. And then what we're going to do is take this and we're going to adjust the volume like so. And take the volume level and tune it out. So what that should do is it should actually, when it starts playing, it should be at full volume, and then it should at 3 seconds fade out. Oh, and then we got to reset the audio. This should be play from start. I don't know that the audio ever goes back. We'll have to check and see. I'm convinced. Cool. I dig it. Again, it's probably not the best way to be doing this, but it works. And working is half the battle. All right. So, I got a tarp. One of the other things that I've been plugging away, yeah, I really like that with the SSS on it, that you can see through it ever so slightly. It did mean that I had to create a new light right here. I should probably make my light fixtures too. That's one of those things that I don't want to wait too long on doing. I got to do my stairs as of yet. It's really dark over here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a light at the top of the stairs. And we'll see how that works. Again, right now there's no actual up top of the stairs, but eventually that'll kind of, that'll fit. And then I wanted to try and see what happens. Where's my lights? A rectangle light. So I just wanted to see what happens if I use a rectangle light outside my world here. I don't need to be in here. I don't need to be in there either. Whatever. A rectangle light. I'm going to put this right here. And I'm going to see what happens if I use this to kind of just do some outsidey stuff and see how that works. So let's do the barn doors and bring them in. Okay, so 35 and 35. That's good like that. And then I just want it to be big enough that it covers the entirety of the window. And so let's set this to be 128 by 128. And I'm going to move it here. Just so that it is outside the window. And I'm going to build my lighting again. I just want to kind of see what this does in terms of faking some lighting or anything like that. It's just one of the default lights in here. Rectangle light. It's really good when you're doing ArchViz to put in behind windows to just make it look white outside. You'll see that in a lot of like these like apartment complexes or futuristic looking stuff. They'll put a rectangle light outside the window or in any gaps, and all it does, like when you look at it, you just see white, but it should give you some interesting lighting in that area. It seems like every time I do anything lighting-wise, you're like, whoa, wait, what, huh? Wait, what, where, what was that? Who, what? Okay. Let's see what this did. So the only thing it really did is just added light to this mesh and not really anything else. Just probably not. Probably not for me. Again, with these window coverings here, there isn't a lot of point in having exterior lighting. Okay, speaking of exterior lighting, I want my skylight, and I want to see the depth of shadowing and lighting that I can get in here. So I want my intensity scale's at 0.1. I'm going to set it to 0.25, and we're going to do... let's do specific cube map here again. Oh, I don't have my cube map. Okay, let's just use that. Oh, that's bright. Oh, that's ugly. Yeah, that's... Where's my scale? I still want it to have... Oh, that barrel's been eaten. Let me pull this guy out a little bit. I'll shift this guy over. It does give me a little bit more. Yeah, it's one of those things that if you even staying in it, like I'm constantly in Unreal 4, and there's always something new to learn, right? Like when I use Unreal 4 professionally, I'm only ever doing character art, and so it's a very, very tiny window of it's only ever a very tiny window of features that I'm using. And so when I do stuff like this, that's when I start getting a little bit more use of the stuff. No, I do not have a tiling texture on the wooden posts. And you may be referring to the ugly spot that is on every one. These beams are actually all just copies of each other. And so what I really should be doing is just like rotating this one 180 and butting it up that way, just so that we don't see it. That kind of thing to break that up. Again, it wasn't really an issue when I had the lighting set the way that it was, because you just didn't notice. But with a little bit more lighting, you can actually see the same little blotches everywhere. But yeah, no tiling there. I've got tiling on the walls, tiling on the floor, and tiling on the tarp. And that's it for tiling. And so nothing else tiles. So I want to play this again here, full screen, to get the gist of the lighting. Yeah, see how blown out the lighting is now from these lights? I mean, I can see the basement now, but it's Man, it's bright. But it's funny, like, where it's dark, it's really dark, right? Like, this window is barely even noticeable that it's there. My carrot moved. I'll have to fix that. But I want to make sure that people can actually, like, wander. I don't want them feeling around in the dark. I want people to be able to find their way. So I think the skylight just needs to be brought down one more point. Where are you, skylight? Skylight. I'm using this image here too, right? And as soon as I change that to anything else, it changes the lighting. Let's do that. Let's give it another whirl. Again, I don't want to spend forever doing lighting. Yeah, this little area here needs something. Whether it's I move that light from there or something. Now, originally, I've actually altered where the light bulbs are in the room. Originally, they were offset. So where there was one on this side of the room, there wasn't one here. It was down a little bit, and that offset was pretty good for lighting up the whole room. But now that it's not offset, you can see, like, I lose everything on the stairs here, and there's just some really, really dark corners. Yeah, candles might be a good idea. The problem with candles is that they don't really give off a lot of light. You know, I'd have to put a lot of candles in an area in order to make it worthwhile. Which, I mean, might be something worth doing. I may do a couple of test meshes to see if it's worth doing. Okay, I really like that. Okay, so I think I need to revisit what I'm doing with the lights. So I'm gonna put a light up the stairs here, which isn't gonna make a lot of sense just yet because there is no upstairs. But just over here somewhere. So again, this is all gonna get, I have to cut this out in order to make room for where there might be stairs, but I want to have something up there so that there's an indication of light. And then this corner is really dark. So maybe if I've got this here, maybe what I'll do is I'll put it in the center of the room. And I'll make copies of it along the beams. So let's go to the top view. Yeah, so I'll put one there. One there, so it's every other beam. This is a fairly large basement, and so this might not be overkill. It might also be completely ridiculous. So let's do a build. And while it's building, let me go and back into Max here. So I've been working on a hutch to do in the environment. So again, just kind of more furniture that I want to kind of throw all over the place. And I'm getting to a point where I've got a good chunk of this thing done. I just want to... Is that an error? No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to damage the hell out of this thing. And I want to get it to a point that it looks kind of chaotic. So what I'm doing right now is modeling it like it were brand new. I'm modeling it like it were IKEA furniture, so to speak. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start destroying it. So this is a glass pane here that's in this door, like this. So there's going to be shelves in here. And I'm going to have one pane of glass intact. It's going to be all dirty and crusty and stuff. But the other pane of glass on the other side, I'm going to break it and just have shards in it. I want to take one of the doors and kind of have it like hanging off. Let me undo that. Let's put my pivot point kind of up where one of the hinges would be. And so, you know, I want to kind of like have the door hanging off and kind of like out like that. And so I'm really gonna bang this thing up a little bit. And I've been trying to model it in a way that if I go and hide all of the top components, I have another piece of furniture here, which looks a little bit more like a dresser. So I'm trying to treat this like it was a little bit of a modular system, so that I can actually put a couple of instances of this in. I've got one drawer here that I'm going to duplicate into these 6 slots. But when I place it in the environment, you know, the idea is to actually pull one drawer all the way out, have a couple of drawers on the floor, and actually make it so that that drawer can be placed in a couple of other places in the environment as well. And so that is the plan. We'll see how well that works out. Okay, let's see, lighting wise, what this does. So this corner's still really dark here. But I can see everywhere in the basement now. I think it's starting to feel a little too well lit. It's starting to feel a little bit well maintained. I definitely think I'm going to put another tarp up somewhere. I really like the effect of that. And because it's a blueprint, it is something I can move around, right? Which is kind of cool. It might be one of those things that's kind of neat to place in more than one area. So if I go and take that blueprint, this guy, and I bring it over here, and we rotate it 90 degrees this way, and bring it out. Now it's supposed to be hung from these beams here, so I would need to actually get it to a point where it is properly either spaced between 2 of those beams or what have you, and then we can move these barrels. Put this one in here. And because the way that this system is set up, this works. And this one will work. Oh, the collision's on the other side. So I would have to rotate it around. And probably position it in such a way that that it doesn't interfere. Let's move it over here. Like that. And I would have to set it up against a wall on one side. Oh, that's kind of cool with the light in behind it. This light bulb can't live there, but you can live in front. And so I can actually use the barrels here as a little bit of a way of blocking the player from colliding with this where there's no collision, or where there's no physics. So if I just do this kind of thing, and I think there's 2 more back here. That one. Place that in front. Place this on top. And even move it over. that should stop the player from wanting to go into it in that area. And then I can even I can randomize the color of this stuff too, so that it's not just the same blue tarp over and over again. Yes, sir. That's kind of cool. Still pretty light on performance, which is good. It looks like those barrels are still interfering a little bit. Yeah, I'm digging it. Okay, so... Oh, weird. The carrot... Oh, I bet you I know what happened to the carrot. I bet you the carrot has got physics turned on. Pick up mesh. Simulate physics. Turn that off. Let's save all, because that's a lot of stuff that I've been doing. I've got a link of chain here, too. This was a mesh that was brought in from the Megascans library. And I thought that might be one of those cool things to hang from the rafters as well and have players bump into it and get that chain rattling sound. Another one of those things that just will sound creepy and hopefully make players feel uneasy. Okay, let's go to the world settings here and under light mass. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to bring this down 0.01. And I'm going to bring the number of indirect light bounces from 32 to 64. 64. I think it's as high as I can go with the quality. Nope, I can bring the quality higher. And let's bring this up higher. That's as high as it goes. Okay. I'm going to try bake now, and we'll see how long this goes. Because I've effectively doubled, and multiplied by 10 the quality of the lighting here by playing with these world settings. And so just want to see what kind of look we're going to get with this. Again, I should be going from 1 minute bake to much higher. So while that's plugging away, let's jump into max and get a little bit more of this thing done. So this guy here, I think, has still got some holes in him. Yeah, there's some ugly topology. I did this chamfer across here, but in order to make the geometry work, I'm not liking it. And so I think I might just remove that. Oh, and I've doubled my geometry here too. Stupid Maya. Come on, you. I can see that you're there. 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 I've got... fuck. Deleted something I shouldn't have. Okay, you know what? I'll just delete the whole frickin' thing. Ugly topology anyway. Let's grab this edge. Bring it out here. Get the X position. Paste the X position. Go back to edges. And I'll bring this thing back. I think this is -9. It is not. It's 0.0331. Should be 0, yeah? Yeah. You should be 0. You, my friend, should be 0. Okay, I've got another double edge here. The hell is that? That must have been left over from the radius that was there. do this. Weld this. I should be able to now. Let's delete this triangle. And weld our bridge across here. Oh, you're not going to bridge. You're not going to bridge nothing. Stupid Engons. Every now and then, I wouldn't even pass my own modeling class. Okay, that looks okay. What do I have selected? Why do I have that selected? Yeah, this is ugly here too. Ugly as sin. What is that? Why are you here? That's fine. Oh, because that wasn't... Okay. Stupid. And there's faces in here. That's the bottom. Okay. So this edge and this edge should be bridged. And the recess that I've got here is for the door to fit into. That should be straight across there. So I should be able to build another edge in here. Straight across. I don't think I need that. The door's going to be recessed at the bottom, but it doesn't matter at the top. Okay. This I still need to do. Let's bridge from here to... That's... Grrr. Sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. Okay, come on now. Click. You bastard. You're not going to go from there. Okay, let's do it from here. There you go. Close that. And then target weld this guy back over here. So now I should be able to bridge here and here. Fix that up. Let's reset the smoothing on this. Okay, and then the top, which again has uglies. Let's go see how Unreal is doing. Curious about how much time... Oh, it finished. So that was longer, but probably not a lot longer. I'm not noticing a very large jump in quality. Should probably do something about those pallets. So this corner here is really the only last true black area. I'm disappointed the couch isn't more visible. Okay. So the only other thing that I could do to change the way the lighting is in here is get away from the bulbs that I'm using now and do iridescent lighting. Do the tube lighting. The reason I wanted to go with these lights, these filament incandescent bulbs, is that they're going to be warmer, and everything's got like this wooden brown golden hue in here that I don't really want to lose because I like the way it looks. These are all the collections of things that I grabbed from, whatchamacallit, Mega Scans. They're okay. They're not fantastic. Okay, I guess I should get the email system up and running as well. It's going to require me to break the inventory system that is currently in place. So, Christian, you asked me a question the other day about what happens if a student plays the game more than once. And my answer was that I was just going to ignore subsequent emails that came from the same place. And I actually started thinking a little bit about what I would do if because obviously people are gonna think this is kind of cool, and they're gonna want to like kind of explore and play around even after they've chosen what they've done. And so it made me think about what I would do to prevent that from happening. And I think what I'm going to do is once somebody emails me, I'm going to create a save file. And so, provided they're playing the game from the same computer again, what I'll do is I'll add that email address that it used to the save file. And when it emails me, I'll just have it check against the save file. Have I already emailed from this location? And if the answer is yes, then don't bother sending the email a second time. And so it should be a fairly benign thing to do that would result in a very great amount of fewer headaches. For me, which I'm thinking is a good thing. So I've got these wooden pallets here, and I thought I might make a few more. And so, yeah, and again, like it only works if the student plays it from the same computer. As soon as they enter another email address, it won't work. And if they played from another machine, it won't work. But as long as they're playing it on the same computer more than once, it won't affect anything. I'll put a couple more pallets there. And decide whether or not I want the sofa here. I'm afraid of it looking a little too living room-like with both of these things here. With the sofa and the chair right next to each other. I did that originally because I built them at the same time. But it may be worth taking one of them and moving it, kind of over to the other side of the map. Maybe put it over here. Kind of thing. Yeah, a second email address, again, is something that won't work. Now, I did, when it asks for your email address, let me save this and show you. If I go to the maps, wrong thing, maps. Actually, let's go in there and delete that. Because that's not something I care about. Let's go into my maps. So if I go to the menu system here and we play this. So the email address already has @georgebrown.ca. So when a student writes their email address in this system, they don't actually write in an email address. I'm completing the email address, right? Because I'm using this at George Brown, I'm assuming they're all going to be using their school email address, which is also why I'm doing this. I want to make sure nobody uses their personal email address to email me. But what they're entering technically isn't an email address. It's just it's just the first part of the email address. I'm going to manually put in the @georgebrown.ca. So I'm assuming that someone like yourself, if you were to go in and do that, you wouldn't type in Christian @georgebrown.ca. You would be like, oh, I don't have an email there, and it might make you not type something in. Yeah, that's the idea. Is to try and keep them engaged as best I can. Oh. Okay, that took a lot longer to... I spawned behind the tarp. That is awesome. This thing needs collision. These things... that one has collision. Those need collision. That little guy needs collision. Those have collision now. Lovely. Needs collision. Whoa. Needs collision. I'm gonna have to put a wooden handrail on the stairs here too. Yeah. I think I'm pretty pleased with this. I want to go see what the couch looks like over on the other side. I totally want an interact button with the couch to sit down on it. I would also like... Oh, I got an error. What is this? Trying to simulate physics on cabin in the wood precision. Pick up mesh. But it has... What are you? What are you? Play an engine. Cabin in the woods map. Precision level. BP master 8. Okay. So there's something wrong with 8. Where are my blueprints? 8. This guy. Why are you trying to simulate physics? Pick up mesh. Simulate physics is off. You should not be trying to simulate physics. I wonder if maybe I collided with it and that did something. I got airborne. That's not supposed to happen either. Okay. Let's see about getting this email system working. So to do this, I'm going to have to go into the blueprint for the character and figure out what he's doing when something gets added to the inventory. Game add, mouse input, depth of field on the item, message from pickup, base freezes player, movement input, none of that. Pressing the inventory key for inventory. So you can see I've actually turned this off already, so I don't have the inventory wired up. But there was an inventory system in here. All of this is all part of that inventory system. Cancel. So what I want is where it says add to inventory. Handle focus, interact, tick. Oh, whoa. What are we doing on tick? HUD, that's fine. Mouse is fine, and that's okay. Okay. Input action use. Highlights items and pickups and drops and throws and uses. Okay. Click on active item. Click on... So none of these are in use. I can delete them. If player move at the time, don't pick up the item. Yeah, I don't care about that stuff. Put item back where it was that I need. When object is taken from exam, destroys the original. Okay, so this is where I need. Drop item, I don't need. And throw item, I don't need. I'm not using either of those systems. Use item from inventory has been clicked. That whole system is not needed. And the tutorial page. It's not needed. Okay, so this slimmed out a little bit. Let's compile this. Uh-oh. Interact unused. I have a funny feeling I broke it. I think I needed those things. Yeah. Yep, let's undo that. Use item from inventory. Let's compile this again. Interact unused. Let's undo a bunch. Okay. Everything's back. Maybe we don't destroy big swatches. Okay. Put back. Still works. It's the take that I want. We don't need this guy. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me go to my widget. Inventory I don't need. Examine. This is the one that I want. We're going to go to the graph and take. What are you doing? On click, put back. On click, take. Take item. Where do you go? You're nothing. You're not helpful. Find references. Take item. And take item. Drop and throw. So those still think that the buttons are there. That's not going to interfere with me anyway. Target is BPI take item. And so let's go BPI take item. Blueprints. It's in. I think it's in here. It is not in here. Let's do a search for this. Take item. BPI take item. There you are. Wait. It's empty. There's no script in there. Take item, take item, take item. Okay. So, not helpful. I want blueprints. Info slot. Game mode, pod. It's this guy. So somewhere in here is take item. Action fired. That's when I click. Start timer. If the mouse button is released, set variables to turn off the timer above, remove all. Wait, what? There's nothing connected to this. You're not doing anything. Interact. Input action use. Branch. Okay to throw. Item in use. Item in hand. Interact on use. Server on use. Highlight items. That I don't care about. Handle focus. That's when you have the object. What do we have in here? Get interact. Change cursor. Begin focus. End focus. Change cursor. So it's none of that. None of that. Um, that's nothing. Find all the pickup classes in the level and put them into an array. That's for rendering. Inventory. UI only. Send those to the HUD. That's where the names come from. So where is the take? Okay, I'm going to put a break here. And I'm going to play. Okay, so that is getting fired off. Let's remove the breakpoint. So it is doing this. I just think this is not doing anything. So this is a function called takeItem. And I don't know that this function is being called anywhere. Function, it's not in here. Functions, it's not in here. Examine. Okay, that's not the one. It's this one. Examine. That's where takeItem is. And it's not in there, right? No, there's no... Okay, what other blueprints am I missing? Interact blueprints. BPI gameplay. takeItem. That's the function. Okay. Handheld. What is that? Weird. Interact blueprints. Not doing that. Inventory actors. That's one that I've edited. Tutorial I don't need. And widgets. So that's it. So I think it's just in here, takeItem, that this is where I want to... Why is this read only? Can we find references to this? Third person, pick up base, and examine. So there is a reference to it in here. Okay. Where's my reference? Where's my find? Oh, wait a minute. I'm just in the event graph. Let's check. Get usable actor. Get interact actor. Nothing in here. Enable mouse. Disable mouse. Get interact actor. That's the line trace to make them glow. Change action. Change cursor. Change examine. This is the tutorial stuff. I don't care about that. Unhide mesh. Get usable actor and the event graph. So I didn't actually see it anywhere else. I think that was all of the functions. Okay. Take item. Okay. There it is right there. So why the hell couldn't I find that before? Pick up item. Already on screen FPC. Your inventory is full. All of this is inventory stuff. Call pickup item. So I'll have to find instances of that. So let's go and break the take item and compile this. Ooh. Remove from parent. We're going to break that as well. Okay. And I'm pretty sure... So that's it. That's the one that I want. So let me try this. No. Is it quit? What? Quit game. Okay. So here's the quit game function. And let's just see if that's firing off when I expect it is. It is. Okay. Beautiful. I don't need the examine. So that means I'm not going to delete any of this yet because I'm not convinced I don't need it. And so we're just going to move this guy over. And this is now where I'm going to use the email system. It wouldn't hurt to write some more UI. I might create another UI widget that just says thanks for playing, or a decision has been made, or a choice has been made. I kind of like the old guy from Indiana Jones. You have chosen wisely. That old guy. I think that might be cool to do too. Now I have no idea how this email system works that I purchased. Let's see. Send email. Email service, Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo. So that's going to be important. ASCII. Email details. Can I break this? Oh, don't. Oh, Visual Studio. I didn't mean to double click. Apologies. Split this. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. So email details, sender email address. Email details password, email details sender name, email details receiver email address, email details subject, email details message, and then attachments. Lovely. I don't need attachments. I can actually send attachments. That's cool. Okay, so when I made the superhero one, and I didn't do this for Overwatch, but I did do it for the superhero one. The superhero one was called... Oh, what the hell did I call it? Roulette. So in the textures here, I made a collection of cards, and these were all of the heroes that you could get. And so each one of these things was this numbered... It meant to almost look like a trading card kind of thing. And so they were all meant to be, the thing that you see on screen when your choice was made. I may do one of these for each of the 50 monsters. Now, when I made this one, I just kind of made this background thing here. I threw Marvel on there. I grabbed, the comic book title font from each of the characters, and then I numbered them all. So there's Iron Man, and if I go arbitrarily grab another one, here we'll grab this one. Boop. There's Loki. So you can see you know, the similarities between these things. They're made in such a way that you're going to see a kind of cohesive look to everything. And that was really, really important. I didn't just want an image like this because then they'd look really, really different. But making this kind of card type thing, I think was really useful. And so if I do that again, if I go and make these card things again, I can actually put that in as an attachment, which means that when a student chooses something, the email that they get doesn't just describe what their character is, but it can actually have an image that I can put down. So I can actually make these cards that get given out, and so that's useful there. Email, custom SMTP settings. So this is where you log into the email. Port server, character set. And so that's going to be important as well. Now again, I can't do the email thing while I live stream this because I don't want to be typing in passwords and what have you into the system. So that's going to be as far as I take that here. While I do want to get that system up and running, I want to keep going with the stream. So I'm going to continue making some assets for this because that's really the only other thing I have to do. I want to add clutter. So one of the things that I think would really, really be awesome with the couch is if it was like up against a wall. Just really showing you that it's not, in use. Doing that kind of thing. Deselect it. So that it's kind of like shoved and out of the way. And then I can put like a couple of like nonsense little things in here. But the problem with this is that there's no bottom on the couch. I didn't think I was going to be standing it up, and as such, there's no bottom on it. And so that's not something I'm going to get to do, but it's definitely something that I want to do. Knock a couple of things over, only because it just, I don't know, it looks a little bit more like in a state of disarray. If Ian were here, this is what he does for a living. He's much better at this kind of thing, I assume, than I. Because I just don't do this. See, this shelf I think is too perfectly square to lean over. I don't think that makes a lot of sense, having it leaned over. I could lean it back this way. And that would make sense. Maybe over one more. Click. And again, it would actually be, it'd have to be against the wall in order to make sure that it stays up. And maybe, let me turn off my angle snaps. I'll start breaking some of those 90-degree areas here that exist and put that kind of off on an angle. And we'll have to get the balloon out of there. And put it over here. Doop. That kind of thing. Let's go into my content here and fill in a little bit more of this stuff. Where was I? Meshes. So here's the meshes that make up my world. I'm going to go and add some textures to some of these guys. Textures and materials. This should remain there. This is the window well and the well. Meshes. What else got the well treatment? This one, that's the gravel. And it's already textured. This one, stop going full screen. Window well. Yeah, that's the grill. Okay. So let's go back into the meshes now. And I can put a couple of these things in the world now. just to kind of fill up some space. Do you have collision? I'm not sure that this mesh has collision. But anyway, we'll put something there. Maybe even... Let's turn the snaps back on. Bring this up. And I will rotate it like so. And just put it against the wall here. Oops. Come back. There we go. A little too much. I can see the shelf through it. Okay. Not you. This. Ooh. This is one of those things that would probably have made a little bit more sense if I put the pivot in a place that makes sense. But I can make this work. So I want to use this, if I can, to lean up against the hole that's here. I think it... Rotate it this way. And just lean it up against this thing. Down here. Okay. Oop. There's a little bit of a middle grate there. That's really all that I can go in place right now. Shy putting some of the other totem meshes in here, but I don't think that's going to work either. Let's go and grab some more of the... that's what I'll do. Is I'm going to go into the Mega Scan stuff. 3D assets. Jerry cans. Throw a couple of jerry cans in here. I'll throw one on the couch. Bloop. I'll just rotate it. And put it over in the corner here. Yeah, what else have we got? Pile of chains. Rusted metal barrel. Flower pot. Just a random lonely flower pot. This one's going to be a bigger flower pot. And actually, I'm going to tip it over. And throw it over here. Okay, that's fine. Jerry can, metal pipes. Yeah, those aren't going to work for much. Oh, the old military wooden crate. Let's throw one of these things over here. Rotate it around to be a little bit more interesting. And kind of throw it over in this corner here. What else have we got? The oil containers. I want to put one up on the furnace. Because that sounds like a stupid thing to do. Keep an oil container on a burning coal furnace. I'll do something like that. Pop out of here. Just so there's something going on there. Maybe we'll put a couple of these bottles on the shelf down here. That one. And this one. And this one. Those aren't bad. Where's the... there's a box. Wooden table, wooden door, wooden bench. Wooden container. That might work. Let's put one of these in here. I'm just going to rotate this a little bit and grab the The bottle that was in it. Where's the bottle? Right there. And we'll just bring the bottle up. Make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Get out of here. Wooden stool. Huh, I don't think I actually put any wooden stools in the map. Put one over here too, but I don't want it to look like a side table. And so we'll just put it like this. Okay. What else have we got in here? The axe, cardboard boxes, chain, clay toy bear, plastic container, oil, flower pot, garlic, jerry can, trash bin. And put a trash bin around here somewhere too. Again, you can't walk through this part of this mesh, and so it kind of makes sense a little bit if we block this off. Okay, rusty old shovel. Let's see here. Let's take the lid for this thing and just make it go askew a little bit. And let's rotate the shovel and put it in there. Like that. That missed a bunch. Okay. There's a garbage can with a shovel in it. There's the wooden ammo crate. This will make it feel a lot less living room like. Let's set this up here. Getting a little too organized with my junk here, I think. Okay. It's starting to fill up that side nicely. I still have the washer and dryer and the basin to put in here. I've got the hutch, which I'm thinking will go about here. I expected that thing to make noise when I passed through it. I should be putting a bunch of crap on the shelves here too. I'm going to put a couple of barrels here. Okay. I got my pallets here. It's slowly starting to get cluttered. There's this guy. Put this on the shelf here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And again, I want to try and watch that I don't just have things at 90 degrees all over the place, but I am trying to rotate them randomly and arbitrarily. I guess that window doesn't make a whole lot of sense with a beam across it. Might have wanted to think that one through a little bit. There's another window here somewhere. Here. So, I think what I'm going to do... There's the other one. I'm going to delete these meshes and end up closing these windows off. They don't make a lot of sense there. And so when I do my walls, I'm going to close in those holes. It might be a good idea. You were talking, Bray, about doing some candles. It might be a really good idea to put them in behind the tarp here. I think that might be kind of cool. And I'm gonna put a couple of candles up above this guy too. I may choose a different place for this. Yeah, I'm gonna move it on top of here. So the whole point with this thing is the demon totem. And the description says that there's wax all over it. And there isn't. But I thought that might be a good idea to actually put a couple of like red candles near the totem. And so if I aim to have that totem in the dark with a couple of candles around it, I think that'll really help. I want to make maybe like an old sleeping bag or something too that's kind of rolled up. I think that could really help do some really cool stuff. I want to see what I can do about some cobwebs too. So I did this the other day trying to do... let me save this file because I'm obviously not interested in modeling right now. Reset. Yes, I want to reset. So I think what I might do here is try to render out some cobwebs. And see what kind of look I can get doing that. So what I'm going to do, let's do this like this. I'm going to make a box or a cube, and I actually just want it to be 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter in every direction. Convert it to an editable poly, and we're going to go in effect pivot only. Center to the object, and let's origin this bad boy. And then what I'm going to do, so this is a 1 centimeter, I'm not in Maya, 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter cube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this face and this face, and I'm going to extrude them, not together, to make myself a angle bracket, something like this. So let's do maybe 30 in my extrusion, so it's really nice and big. So something like that. I'm going to reset the X-form on this thing, and I'm going to create a spline on the ground. Let's do a circle, easier to track, and convert this to an editable spline. And then I'll go into my modifier list, and we'll... what the hell am I doing here? It's not in the software anymore. So I'm wondering if I have to add it every time. That's not convenient. Okay, so let me go see if I can find it on my system anywhere. So, very peculiar. So I had a plugin that I grabbed that was to generate cobwebs. And when I brought it into Max to use, it showed up in here alphabetically, which would put it about here. There's CL and CR, so it would be in there. But it's no longer here. Let's try... Yeah, that's just welder. So the modifier is not here anymore, and it doesn't appear to be on my computer either. I'm not sure what happened to it. Unless I deleted it, which is also, you know, likely. Yeah, I really have no idea what I did with this thing. Weird. Curious. So I have my transaction receipt. I did buy the plugin. Okay. We'll just bring it back in. Like so. And now, cobwebs. So I don't know what happened, why it disappeared from Max like that. It should have remained in the software. Anyway, my original idea with this modifier was to bring these things in dynamically as splines into Unreal. And there was just a massive penalty in terms of performance for doing that. And so I'm going to try and do something a little bit different with them to see how this works. So what I'm going to try and do here is generate some splines kind of in this way. Random, I want radial generate. And I think I'm going to rotate this thing 180. Grab this spline here again. Oop, there we go. And create some cobwebs like this. If I can. Let's create a little bit more here. I'm really liking. Let's try a spiral. Well, order didn't do anything. Yeah, so I don't want to get too much bunched up like that. Okay, that's a little bit better. Let's see. that. Let's set this back to random again. I might be overthinking what I'm getting here. Holy shit. Well, now that amount has turned up. Let's bring it back to 20. Oh, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So this is what I wanted to do, was generate something a little bit like this. I'm going to convert this to an editable spline. And now I'm going to delete my mesh. And what I'm going to do now, actually, let me keep the mesh. Because I'm going to, that doesn't matter. I'm just going to move the mesh over here. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to get another triangular version of this thing here. So let's pick this guy. Oh, you're supposed to be a spline. Okay, now you can cobweb. And generate. Generate. Just want to get them similar but different. Okay, and I'm going to delete this. So my goal here in making these things triangular, let's affect pivot center. Don't need you. It's just going to be to rotate this one 180 and place it here like this. I'm going to make a square in the background here. So let's set this to 50 by 50. Shoot, brother. What's the question? Okay. Ask away, my friend. So when you use the AO map for a dirt generator, what layers would you keep on? Okay, I don't follow. Oh, yeah. So, whatever is needed, right? So it's all based off what's underneath the object, what's underneath the dirt. So to put it one way, if you made a wrench and you were texturing that wrench, right, it's going to have a metallic value. And if you put a dirt layer on top of that and you turn metallic off, your dirt will appear metallic because it's going to adhere to the value below it. But if you're doing something like a flower pot that's made out of, porcelain or whatever, terracotta, that's not metallic. And so if you put dirt on top of that, the metallic doesn't do anything. And so it's based on what the underlying surface is. If you've got metallic anywhere in your surface, turn it on just to be safe and set it to a value that has no metallic, right? To 0. In terms of everything else, it really depends what you're trying to get out of the dirt. I will typically, when I'm just doing like caked on dirt, I usually won't use any height or normal map, but I have in the past just to make it look like there's even more built up dirt and stuff. It's all about the effect you're trying to get, right? And the biggest thing with this is to just look at reference, find what it looks like in reality, and that will set you free. If that makes any sense. Huh. These guys need to be converted to an edible. No, poly. And now this will work. So, let's do that. Let's kill the padding. I don't want any padding. I'm going to do this at 4K, because I'm mental like that. What I'm going to add is an alpha map. And I'm going to render this at 4K, 4096, 4096. And, yeah, it's all about subtlety, right? It's all about not going overboard with your textures. And so, yeah, the key to reality is just that. Make sure you're looking at real life. Look at images of filing cabinets. Especially if they're like, don't look at them in store photos. Look at them in environments. Look at them in offices and whatnot. They've always got scratches and dings and a coffee ring on the top of it from someone putting their drink down. Like it's all about the history of that object in the environment that it's in. That's what's going to make it believable. Okay, where am I? I'm nowhere near the right place here. Projects. Cabin in the woods. And textures. And I did make a cobwebs, did I not? Okay, I did. It's just gone. So we're going to make a new... Oh, I think it was in meshes. Cob, webs. I think there's 2 B's in cob. Anyway, alpha. Yeah, 24 should be fine. Let's see what we get. So this is not anything that I'm rendering. This is what I'm rendering. Wow, I should turn the anti-aliasing on. I think Max remembered that I had the anti-aliasing off. Oh no. Anti-aliasing is totally on. Okay. Well, let's enable the super sampler and put Hammersley on. And see if that helps the render. I can work with this. Okay, what's the deal? Yeah, there's anti-aliasing. Okay, that'll work better. Longer to render, but it'll be worth it in the end. In the end, in the end, in the end. So I think I might end up doing the same thing that I did with the tarp, with the chains. I think I might hang them from a couple of places and just put some noise on them. So I'm going to try you on the weekend. I know it's Thursday. I'm going to do another live stream tomorrow. But I'm going to try to, on the weekend, get the email system all up and running. To try and get this system completely built. And then I gotta start hammering out these meshes to get them done. I'm already at the point where I'm over in terms of the number of hours that I put into this. I'm already over what the school was willing to pay. So I'm now plugging away at this on my own buck. And so where I'd like to be working on Mask again. Wow, this is taking forever. Anyway, it did render once. Let me see if I have access to the file since it rendered already. Well, candles. Okay, let me use this as a starting point and save this. I'm going to put this as a targa like this, and I don't need it to be 34. I want to try and get as much of this to be mine as possible because I want to use it as a show off piece as well, and it wouldn't make me feel right having somebody else's artwork in here and then plastering it all over my my portfolio. And so I appreciate the offer, Bray, and it's not that I don't have faith in your confidence in your ability to do this stuff. I just want to, I want to hit this stuff all myself. See what I can do on my own. Appreciate it, though. Awfully kind of you to offer. I don't need to do this. I'm going to drag this guy in. Okay, so I set up this thing as a texture. We're going to create a material out of this. Let's fucking name some of this shit. MA webs. Oh, bye, Unreal. Send and close. That's what I get for naming something. For shame. Shouldn't have named it. That's what I get. That's what I get. Alright, maybe we'll try again. And let's go plug this guy on. I think I might make some wine bottles too. A wine rack, a cellar wine rack would be another really good thing that would take up a lot of room and would look pretty decent. So let's restore all that was broken. head back to the map. I've still got a bunch of UI to do on this too. My menu map is fugly at the moment, and so that's definitely one of those things. I'm going to save everything here just to make sure I don't lose anything that I've done. And let's go back into the cobwebs. There's the material. Apparently, the material got remembered, but the texture did not. This. Okay. So I'm going to grab this here and do this. Now, that's not where I want this. This is going to be a translucent mesh. Two-sided. That's the idea. If I can get this to work the way that I want it to work. I said masked. This is not supposed to be masked. It's supposed to be translucent. Okay. Let's put this on a plane. Not too bad. We're going to create a color for these. And I'll put this in here. I'm going to take a vertex color, red channel, multiply by a scalar called strength. I'll put this in here. This is going to go into the world position offset. I should probably also multiply this by the vertex normals. No. Not vert normals. What the hell am I looking for? Yeah, vertex normals. And we're going to multiply this by the vertex normals. Put that in there. I'm going to... I don't think I need anything else. This should be enough. I'm going to give this a default color of not black. Okay, I'll save that. Now, I know my texture here isn't good. It's still rendering in max. The actual one I'm going to use, not even halfway done rendering yet, and so we'll just let max do its thing. And I'm going to use the crappy version for now. I need to make some geo for this, so I'm going to open max again. I'm going to get another instance of max. And I'm going to make a couple of meshes here. Okay, max. Max. Where did the other max go? I know there are two of you. It would be wise not to hide from me. There you are. Wrong one. There you are. What the? This one. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to make a plane. Let's do this in the front view and do this. And we're going to kill this. This is in centimeters. So I want this thing to be 50 by 50. We're going to... I'm going to leave it there for now. I don't really care where it goes. And convert this to an edible poly. I'm going to grab these vertices and connect them. And detach this. What are you laughing at, Bray? Okay, we'll take this one and rotate it 90 degrees. And then I don't know if I ever told you guys this or not, but I used to DJ. It wasn't very very reputable DJing, and it wasn't the kind with the wiki. It wasn't that kind of DJing. It was a little bit of a different kind of DJing, and I did it for a good chunk of my my 20s. Yes, well, that is because I was doing a German accent. Okay. What the fuck am I doing now? You got me all distracted. Okay. Edges. That's what I need. Okay. Select 2 edges. And I'm going to connect. I'm trying to do this without breaking my UVs. So let's do 13. And then I'm going to remove them. And then I'm going to remove the vertices from the top. And then I'm going to connect 2 at a time. All right. Then I need to go through here and connect. And that'd be fine. And instead of reproducing that again, I'll just delete that one. I'll remake it out of this one. We're going to adjust the pivot point. That snaps on, and we'll move it up here. We'll move it up here. Okay. Origin this. Okay, the next thing I want to do here is put a vertex color on here. Vert paint. And let's turn on the vertice colors, which are going to be all white, so we'll flood them with black. And then I'm going to paint them in red. Red. Paint. Something like that. And then blur all. And I need to paint in black here again. I need to make sure. Where's my draw size? Brush, brush, brush. Brush. Oh, there it is. Size. Let's bring this down. Down further. Just a little further. And I need to make sure that this outer edge doesn't get any color. Go back to my default color, convert this to an edible poly. Undo. Okay, I clicked on it. I wanted to make sure that didn't do anything. Okay, so I'm going to export this. Export selected. And we'll go and put this in the replace here. Projects, Cabin in the Woods, Fibex, and this is going to be Cobb, Webs. I should have hit A at the end of that. Regardless. With that done, I'm going to go into the UVs. Max is not behaving at the moment. So I'm going to take all the UVs and I'm going to rotate them twice and convert it to an editable poly. Then we shall export it again. Then we shall export it again. This is going to be Cobwebs 2 or B. Let's go with B. Cobwebs B. Okay. Now I have geometry. Let's go into meshes and import. Okay, I need lost wherever you are. The hell am I doing? Cobwebs. Let me put the A in here. A. Okay, I'm going to bring these two things in. I want to make sure that I'm importing my normals and that in terms of vertex color, we are ignoring This is going to make sure... yeah, that should be good. Import. And import. Cobweb A, cobweb B. I'm going to go back to my cobweb material, grab this, open these two things up, and then we'll go back to the web. Grab the material and apply the material. Here. And here. Okay. I need to make an edit to the material because this isn't exactly what I want. I need to make a simple wind construct. And we're going to need some parameters in here. This is going to be intensity. I ain't ever been to that city. The intensity. And I need a wind weight. That's not the right node. Scalar parameter. This is weight. And I don't need an additional world position offset, but I'm going to multiply this by my vertex color nonsense and plug it in here. Oh, you need a WPL regardless, so let's do that. Okay, I'll save this. Although those values are zeros, it should be doing nothing to the cobwebs. But now, if I go to the meshes and I grab the cobwebs, let's see, where are we going to start cobwebbing? I don't know where to start. I don't know what I would just put them in, just put them somewhere and fucking choose. Okay, I'll start back here. This is where I've been working. And so all I got to do is just, let's go over to this corner here, grab a cobweb and bring it up. Bring it up here. Let's put it underneath this guy. And we should get it to the point that it is just barely intersecting with it. That is light. Let's scale it up. Oh, that was the wrong scale. Wrong one. That's the still wrong one. There we go. Whoop. Well, it's really, really light, but it is there. So I may need to, and again, I'm using, right now I've got the anti-alias, or the aliased version of this on, which is just the individual pixels. So once the second version of this comes up, it should look better. Should. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's add some more, I guess. Let's say cobweb B. And put cobweb B here. Let's rotate it 90 degrees. And bring it up here. And here. And scale it up. Oh, I can't scale it past where that beam is, because that won't make any sense. I'm going to move it away from the wall too, because it's going to billow and move. Actually, you know what might make a lot of sense? Is, why don't we put it down here with this one? And again, I can't scale it out too much because that one's not there. Maybe I'll turn it this way and lean it in here a little bit. Or something like that. Okay, so now with that placed, I'm just going to get my camera here to the point that I can see the damn thing. You know what might help? Not being windowed. Okay, so I can see it there. I'm going to open up the material now. Actually, I screwed up. And then I need to make an instance of the material. Which is going to be material instance webs. Done screwed days up. No, that's fine. Meshes, I need to open the two webs again. And then go back to the materials. And it's the instance I need to apply, not the base or master material. So that, yeah, we'll save it. The reason for that is that I can't make real-time changes on the master material, but I can on the instance. So I'm going to open up the instance and just put it over here. And then we're going to go full screen with this thing. And we'll turn on these guys. And I'm going to turn the intensity up to 1. And the strength up to, let's start with 0.25. Well, that looks like a whole bunch of nothing. Oh. Wait, intensity, strength, weight. That's what I wanted. The weight should be 0.01. Bring that down a little bit. So I'm a little confused because it does definitely look like the vertex color did not get imported. And so I would like to correct that. It is wibbling and wobbling though. Okay, let's go see how Max is doing. And by Max I mean not Max, but Max. Okay, I think I've got to re-import the meshes to do this. So let's go to meshes, and I can't just re-import, but I need to select them and import them. In order to say, yes, I want to overwrite all of them. Oh, you bastards. Yeah, see, it shouldn't be moving up at the top, nor down at the bottom. It also looks like I could have gone a lot bigger with the webs, and that they definitely disappear into nothing where they are. But they're really cheap, in that there's only like 200 vertices on these things, and I can go and put them kind of wherever I want. And so, you know, I can take this guy. Oh yeah, I can see right away that this is not doing what I want it to do. All of the vertices are moving. But anyway, I'll go and put this up here. And then again, scale it up. Click. So let me see what I can do with the color here. I know I've got them as white. But changing the color might give me a little bit more out of them. So the first thing that's worth noting is that, oh, they're not even white. I made them gray. So I can make them white, which will definitely help. But the other thing is that I can make them whiter than white, which will actually make them glow a little bit. At least it's supposed to. That's not really glowing. Maybe this is not doing what I want it to do. Anyway, we'll leave them at white. Let's go back into the master material. And it may be worth adding some emissive to this. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a scalar parameter to the emissive. I'll put this in here. And a little bit of glow might make them just stand out a little bit better. So right now they don't glow. But as I bring this up a little bit, they'll start glowing a little bit more. And they still don't look like outside of the realm of reality. They still kind of appear to be web web-like. I definitely have to fix the, I definitely want to fix the glow, though, because that doesn't, or not the glow, but the vertex painting, because that doesn't, oh, that's the material. You don't do that. And again, the nice thing about this is that I've put my pivot point in the corner. So it's really nothing to go set this up. I'll put one in the corner here and rotate it out on a 45. And, ooh, wrong one. And scale it up. And then I can bring another one in. And rotate it up this way. And this way. And this way. And I can kind of go put that in alongside that one. And scale it down a little bit more. Maybe rotate it down this way. And again, you'll start getting this cobwebby look to things. I definitely want to fix that vertex color, though. That's going to bother me to no extent that that's wrong. And I want to see what happens here in Max when my render ends. Oh, my render ended. Okay, so let me close this and go into Photoshop, where I'm going to close this and not save it, and then open just the same damn file again, and this time grab the red green channel, copy and paste it here, and get rid of this, and so that's got anti-aliasing on it. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. We're just going to save this. Targa. Overwrite that guy. And since I had an earlier version of this that was saved and imported, I should just now be able to re-import it. Cobwebs. And if I re-import, and I keep an eye on what happens here. Ooh, they actually got lighter. They're really, really subtle, and I'm wondering if they're too much so. What I'm going to try doing here is duplicating my layer, setting it to be a screen, and then putting a filter Gaussian blur, and just ever so slightly, I need to see the web. Where the hell's the web? Okay, cancel that. Oh, Photoshop is in the process of dying. Okay, well, you go on and die in peace, Photoshop. I'll leave you be. Okay. So I need to fix the meshes because they are not containing. And this is going to pain me a little bit here, but I'm going to delete Cobweb B. And hopefully oh. Okay. I'm not really sure what happened there. Cobweb B is still in there. And Cobweb A is gone. So if you notice in my world, I still have Cobweb A, B, 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 B. So that's important because there are references to null objects in my world. But what I'm going to do is then just go and re-import A and B. This time we'll try and get the vertex painting correct here. So replace, import the static mesh using the vertex colors from the SPS file. Yes, that's what I want. Okay, and then in this guy we want web MI webs. And on this guy, MI webs. And we can close that. And then if I go in here and I grab cobweb A, I can assign A back to it. And if I grab B, 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 we can assign B. And so now it's like they never moved, even though I deleted the mesh and got rid of it. Okay, so it's billowing a little bit more now, but the endpoints are not moving, which is exactly what I wanted. Now, let's see if Photoshop's done shitting the bed. It is. Okay, cancel. Let's zoom in while I do this. That's as zoomed in as I'm going to get. So I'm going to go filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. .5 pixels. Not quite enough. Let's go 5 pixels. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is just go into my levels and bring the whites up. Maybe about there. And if I bring the blacks up, we can kind of fine-tune this a little bit. So I'll try that. Ooh, where it's... Come on, you stupid software. So I gotta get this right without blowing it. Okay. In Zoel de Vanille, we shall re-import the cobweb. Kabam. Texture. We should see an instant change in the world. Oh yeah. And now they are magnificently bold. So in here, I can now go to the color. And we can change this back to gray. Like so. And I should be able to kill the glow. Or bring it up really slightly. Like so. So yeah, that's starting to read a little bit more as being cobwebs. Now, the trick is to actually combine enough of them together that you don't get this plain artifact where you can see it. I may also go into the strength of my wind here. Where's the weight? 0.1. Let's change that to 0.025. Better. And let's see what that's doing to the... Yeah, it's a little bit better. So again, the idea with these is that I should be able to put them in a lot of places here. In order to give me the kind of effect of this being a little bit old and decrepit. So I can do one like that. We can grab, that was A. Let's grab a B. And rotate B this way. And drop B down here. In, down, there it is, and up, and back, and we'll switch to scale, and we'll slide it over, give it a little bit of parallax, and I'll put another one over here. Let's see how that's looking. Yeah. That's starting to feel a little bit more the way that I was hoping it would. And Now they might be a little too much on the white side. And so, cobwebs, instance, color. And what I might do is shift them into a little bit more of a peach color. Go down in here. Something like that. Now these are just static meshes, which means when I build my lighting, the lighting should actually affect these things. So ones that are in shadows should be darker. Ones that are in the light should be lighter. Wouldn't be a bad idea to put some of these guys in the windows here too. So it is definitely getting to the point where my system is starting to slow down with the lighting. It doesn't seem to take that long doing the lighting itself, but the building process seems to take quite some time. Well, there's 30, 40, 60. Okay. So we should see an update here. Oh yeah, I have illumination on, so they're not actually going to completely fall away. See you, Christian. Thanks for hanging out, bud. Okay, I'm going to cobweb around this thing. Ooh? What ooh? What's your ooh? Why are you oohing? Put this guy here. Make sure that nothing really reaching out from above that. We'll pull the other one up here. Put this kind of over here. Something like that. I'll bring one back here against the couch. something like that. Lean it over a little bit. Pull a copy out. And this is B, so we'll swap it with A. And I'll lean A over this way. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The nice thing about this is that it ties a lot of these assets together, where there wasn't a lot of cohesion between them. They were just like a couch and a thing and a thing and a wall and a whatever. Doing this, though, you definitely start to get that feeling of it all being connected. One way or the other. That all feels like it's actually kind of part of the same. Oh, don't tell me you're not going to do this. Okay. There, I'll use that one. So I must have turned off the transparent selection, as I'm not currently able to select the webs once they're in the world here. The nice thing about this too is that they're all on the same win node, right? It's all just being generated through the material. And so if I ever find that it's blowing too much in here, I can just turn it down on the material and every web will get turned down. I'm going to put a couple on the back end here too, to kind of help make it feel like this thing has been here a while. Look at this. Rotate it a bunch. No. I was happy with that. I'm going to bring it up. Let's change webs. We could do this with a blueprint too, which might have been a neat way to go about doing it. Let's change the rotation type to local. All right, not too bad. Can't even see where the ceiling is here. How about there? Okay, let's get in there. Might not kill me to make a couple more variations of the web that are rectangular as opposed to triangular. as there's a lot of places where I could put a web going from like one mesh to another. But this is definitely starting to look kind of the way I was hoping it would. And you can see why I had to nix this with the other system too, as there's no way that was going to work, and with just one on screen, it was laggy, which is not going to cut it, right? And so let's turn this guy this way, and this way, and move it up. Move it over. Down a little bit. The other thing that's really cool with the spider webs is that you can put a pixel depth offset on them. So if I go back into my material here, which is completely and utterly closed, if I go into the master material and I add a pixel depth. No, not pixel depth. What is the depth I'm looking for? Depth fade. So I'm going to do a depth fade. Now I'm going to plug the opacity into my opacity. And I'm going to type in a distance. That's not the right node. So here we'll call this distance. And what this does is it's going to fade the geometry out when it comes near something. And so if I go and save this, and I go back in here, it'll take a moment for it to repopulate. But what this will do now is if I go into this instance and I turn on the distance, as I increase this, and it might be anywhere near as high as 100, you can see that it actually starts fading them out as they get near anything, which really helps to blend them in, because you don't see any of that really strong connection stuff, right? It just kind of tapers out when it gets near anything. This also includes when the webs get near each other. So whenever you get one or two webs that are kind of near each other, they'll not interfere with each other, which will give you this really neat sense of kind of depth and what have you in here. Really? Oh, I wonder if this is the glow. Yeah, that's what's doing it. So I need to cancel. I need to edit the material further because I don't just want the glow in here, but I want to multiply the glow by the color. Like so. So we'll let that compile again. Yeah, now it's going to be too dark. So let's put the glow to 1 and then slowly bring it down. That's definitely starting to look the way that I want it to look. Yeah, and you definitely get this sense of these things having been here together for some time, right? You start getting this impression that like that's been there a while. You got cobwebs all over it, and they're attached to the couch and that kind of thing. So the idea is to kind of do what I've done in this corner to the entirety of the room, which is going to take me like the entirety of a business day, going through and just putting these webs on. I also can't do the entirety of the room until it's until the entirety of the room is there. You know, it's easy to kind of go and throw some of this stuff on here now, but without having all of the meshes in place, it's kind of pointless. And so that's the idea anyway. Let's move this way, bring it out here. Drop it down. Scale it up. And the nice thing about these webs is that they're pretty scalable. It just looks like there's thicker chunks and thinner chunks, which will work nicely. We'll put another one over here. Let's rotate this way, and this way, and swap its mesh out for A. And this thing is mostly in the wall. Let's pull it out. Pull it back. Okay, let's ease up on the wind. It's starting to feel drafty. So I'm going to take the intensity of the wind from 5 down to 2. It's not too bad. I'm going to reduce the strength down a little bit as well. Let's go see what it's like. I love me those tarps. Yeah, that is definitely starting to feel the way I want it to feel. I'm going to change the color of the selectable items too. Green is okay, but it's not what I want. I want it to be blue, almost like an LED blue, like this, almost like this blue that's on these things. Yeah, I think once I get enough of that cobwebbing in here, it's really going to look put together. Every now and then, the pickup system breaks. The rotation is screwy. So it might be nice to put another totem. Oh, there's no collision on that guy. That's got to get fixed. There's collision on that. There's collision on that. There's collision on that. Not collision on that. Or that. Whoop. Yep. I think I'm digging it. So I think what I'm going to do here is maybe I'm going to fill this shelf here as a kind of just a test shelf. And I've already got like some chunks of metal and, you know, a little stool and some things in here. But I think once I have this whole shelf cluttered and start spiderwebbing it, you know what? That's the thing, man. That's the whole... You don't even know you can walk through them, and then you can walk through them, and it's just one of those things that you want to just keep doing it. You just want to keep doing it. Yeah, that worked out really well. Yeah, it worked out really, really well. I'm pleased with the way that worked out. So you can re-trigger it. Walking through it, I may have to put a delay on the respawn of the audio. Just so that it doesn't do that. But yeah, like it's starting to come together. You're definitely getting the gist of the room now. You know what's funny is I don't remember where all the audio cues are. There's one in there. I think there's one in the barrels. I think I gotta move that one. Let's see. No, it's in the shelf. So I definitely don't want this to be triggered when you go through the tarp. I'll put it there. There's one here. I want to put them in places where I'm guaranteed that people will pass through them. There's something wrong with my random too. My son's voice never happens, and so I've got to investigate that. Let's do that. Let's do that, and then we'll call it a night. So, blueprints, jump scare audio. There's something wrong with the random I'm doing. Okay. So I'm making an array. Of between... Should really put this in the construction script. Let's get it out of here. Alright, dude. I'll see you next time. I'll put this in here. Compile that. And then we'll kill this one. Random integer in length. Now, I might as well... I mean, I don't have to just get the length. I can just get a random integer. So this is 9. So let's get random float. Random float in range. And 9. 9. And... No, not a random float. Random int in range. 9. Oh, that's why it's broken. Right there. Okay. I had between 10 and 15 instead of 0 and 15. So this should... Of course, it plays the same one again. Keeps playing that one too many times. Anyway, good progress was made again today. And we're definitely getting to a point here where it's starting to feel a lot closer to the way it was intended. Again, one of the biggest problems I'm going to have is just filling the environment with stuff. You know, getting it to the point that it feels cluttered. It's really easy to do a little section like this where you've just got a couple of things to make that feel cluttered. But, yeah, it's definitely one of those things that I'm going to have to sort out as I keep plugging away, and then I'm going to build all my totems. And so I'm going to keep doing that and getting to the point that I'm happy with the way that it's built. And so anyway, I'm going to call it an end for tonight. We've hit midnight here again, and so time for me to go to bed. I want to thank you for watching and being part of the stream. And again, I'll be back here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock if you want to come check that out. And yeah, we'll see how much further into this mess I can get here. And so thanks again for watching. Until